Songwoo pushed through the crowded hallway, frustration rising as he navigated his way to class. He muttered to himself, recalling how much worse the daily commute seemed now compared to when he was a freshman. The crowded trains and constant jostling felt unbearable, making him question if he should find a new place to live or even drop out of school altogether. Was this really the right mindset for someone with his background, a former Special Forces reserve sergeant? He couldn't help but wonder, were his claims of surviving extreme military training even true? If the great Songwoo, who had endured such grueling training, couldn't handle a simple 2-hour commute, what did that say about him? The harsh words of his classmates echoed in his mind, especially from Hanho, who had yet to complete his own military service. Hanho had no right to question Songwoo's strength or commitment to the future. Suddenly, Hanho's voice interrupted his thoughts, bringing up a topic Songwoo had been trying to avoid: politics. He muttered dismissively about unification, a cryptocurrency tied to an initiative to integrate North and South Korea's financial systems. Songwoo didn't care about politics, especially not when it was brought up by someone who didn't even follow the news. The conversation shifted back to a sore subject: Myung. Hanho teased Songwoo about his breakup with her, though Songwoo preferred not to hear her name. He'd warned Hanho years ago not to date anyone at the same college, but it seemed to be all the more awkward now. Hanho started talking about strange things in the sky, words that Songwoo didn't understand. Songwoo thought he was just imagining things or playing a game. But Hanho was insistent, claiming he saw a message about downloading monsters. Songwoo didn't take it seriously. He dismissed Hanho's ramblings, but Hanho persisted. Songwoo tried to shake it off, heading to class, but he couldn't ignore the uneasy feeling creeping in. It wasn't until later, as he trudged through his day, that things started to take an even stranger turn. The usual exhaustion hit him hard, making it difficult to stay awake. As he tried to make sense of the sudden change in the atmosphere, the lights in the building flickered and went out, followed by an eerie blackout. It wasn't just any power failure. Something was wrong. His phone wouldn't turn on, and everything around him seemed unnaturally dark for daytime. Then, a strange message appeared, floating in front of him. He wasn't sure if it was a hallucination or a hologram, but others around him seemed to see it too. The cards began to appear out of nowhere. Panic set in, but someone shouted not to touch anything. It felt like the world around him was shifting, and the sense of danger was undeniable. Songwoo didn't know what was happening, but one thing was clear: things were about to change. Songwoo was in a state of confusion and panic, staring at the strange cards that had appeared before him. The countdown clock ticked down quickly, 15 seconds, then 10, then 5. He had no idea what to do with the cards or how to make a decision in such a short amount of time. His mind raced, trying to comprehend the rules of what seemed like a game he didn't understand. Some cards had more stars, and in the panic of the moment, he decided to pick the one with the most stars. The countdown reached 0, and a voice confirmed his choice. A Necromancer class card was selected, but before Songwoo could process what had happened, he felt an overwhelming sensation, like something was taking over him. A sword appeared out of nowhere, and the reality of the situation hit him hard. Had he really just become a necromancer? The sword felt unnervingly real, and his confusion deepened. Suddenly, a monstrous creature appeared, and the chaos escalated. Songwoo tried to remain calm, but the creature's presence was overwhelming. He was stuck, unable to move, trapped in the back of the room. His classmates, including Minsu, panicked as the creature drew closer, and Minsu, still shocked, was too paralyzed to act. The beast was small, but its aggression made Songwoo fear for his life. Desperate to survive, he summoned all his strength to fight back, even though he had no idea what he was doing. Songwoo's thoughts raced as he tried to make sense of everything: goblins, undead, and a strange message that seemed to suggest he had the power to control the dead. A command list appeared, showing a goblin skeleton that he could summon. The reality of the situation set in. He had just become part of a bizarre fantasy world, and he was now capable of summoning the undead. A loud shriek echoed through the air. "There's more! And there are 2 of them this time!" A screech followed as the enemy approached. Songwoo's minion awaited his command. Fight! Kill those bastards for me, Songwoo ordered, but as the battle continued, he realized that the creatures, though small and child-sized, were not difficult to fight. However, without a proper weapon, he was at a disadvantage. Minsu, give me your sword, quickly, Songwoo demanded. Minsu hesitated. What? Why? Hurry up, Songwoo pressed. I want to kill those things with it. Minsu held onto his sword. This is mine. I chose this class. Then you go and kill them. Songwoo snapped. Forget it. Keep your sword. Use it to peel some potatoes or something. Frustrated, Songwoo returned to the fight, dealing with the enemy himself. As the battle wore on, he became increasingly disturbed by the eerie sight of his minion, a skeleton, at his side. I'm sorry, but something about you gives me the creeps, Songwoo muttered, unable to look at it. Could you look somewhere else? He added, feeling uneasy. As Songwoo fought, he overheard panicked voices. Songwoo, what on earth is happening? Minsu cried out. I'm not really sure either, but Songwoo started, when suddenly another shriek filled the air. Help me, someone shouted, panic spreading through the group. Songwoo's mind raced. This kind of stuff is happening all across the pandemic, maybe even across the entire country. Is the same thing happening all over the world? Minsu asked in terror. We can't stay here, Songwoo exclaimed. We have to leave campus. That's right. I've got my car. Let's go to the parking lot, someone suggested, but before they could move, chaos ensued. The group scattered as monsters appeared. Everybody run. I'll hold them off here, Songwoo shouted, but the others were already in full flight. Though everything seemed chaotic, Songwoo realized that adhering to certain rules would be key to survival. His class, abilities, and the monsters he could hunt seemed to follow a structured system. I just need to follow those rules, Songwoo thought. The more he fought, the higher his chances of survival would become. His minions returned to their slumber after the fight. Good work, guys, Songwoo murmured as he observed their progress. Level up, Songwoo muttered in disbelief. No way, does this work too? He checked his status window, seeing that his stats had improved, but there were no attribution points like in traditional games. Instead, it appeared his results were random. The number of minions he could command had increased, but their mana requirements were low. Guess you guys don't need that much mana, Songwoo observed, his minions still giving him an eerie feeling. I'm sorry, but could you look elsewhere? He added awkwardly. Determined to survive, Songwoo knew he had to remain vigilant. I still don't know exactly what's happening, but I've done okay so far. Survival. That's all I'll focus on for now. With danger still looming, Songwoo realized that staying in one place for too long wasn't an option. He needed to stay alert and be ready to escape at a moment's notice. As he prepared to move forward, a new realization hit him. The situation inside the building was actually safer than outside. I shouldn't rush downstairs just yet, Songwoo thought. But I can't stay here forever either. These guys will lead the way for now, he decided, trusting his minions to guide him through the chaos. A scream pierced the air, making Hanho flinch. He turned to Songwoo, panic evident in his voice. Songwoo, what are those things? Songwoo shrugged casually, gesturing toward the skeletal figures surrounding him. Oh, don't worry about them. Think of them as my bodyguards. Hanho blinked, his confusion deepening. Bodyguards?
What are you even talking about?
Hanho, Songwoo asked, did you pick a class card too? A class card? Oh, yeah, Hanho replied hesitantly. I chose Rogue. Songwoo raised an eyebrow. Rogue, huh? How many stars did it have? Stars?
Oh, right.
It had 1 star, Hanho said proudly. That makes me as good as a brigadier general, doesn't it? That's a good thing, right? Songwoo smirked, shaking his head. Sure, you keep telling yourself that. They decided to move, looking for a safer place. Songwoo reassured Hanho, mentioning that his skeletal minions would lead the way. As they walked, Hanho noticed something unusual. Songwoo, you can see this too? Yeah, Songwoo responded, intrigued by the synergy effects that appeared. Looks like we're gaining buffs when certain conditions are met. This could be useful in a party, or even when I'm on my own. Hanho pointed ahead nervously. That thing is that their leaders? A new notification appeared in Songwoo's vision. The goblins have been weakened by the scent of death, stage 1. Their stats have decreased by 30%. Songwoo grinned. Looks like I got lucky again. The goblins screeched, their numbers bolstered by buffs of their own. Hanho grew nervous. Should we run now, Songwoo? Songwoo stayed calm, observing his skeletal minions. No, I need to watch closely. These guys move based on my will. Let's see what they can do. Moments later, the skeletons defeated the goblins, and several items appeared on the ground. Songwoo picked them up, examining their details. Crude spear, common, a one-handed spear with no special effects. Wild spirit bracelet, rare, increases the attack speed of small-build allies by 20%. Songwoo activated a skill buff called Wild Berserker, which increased the goblin skeleton's attack and speed for a limited time. Looks like I managed to get a lot of items. Good job, team. Hanho, still wide-eyed, muttered. What the heck was that? Don't ever do that again. Songwoo turned to him. Where should we go now? Let's figure it out once we're out of this place. For now, let's stay focused. As they moved, Songwoo instructed his skeletons to hide in a copy room. People might panic if they see you, he explained. Inside the building, tension ran high. Jinseok, a notorious bully who had somehow joined the student council, barked orders at the panicked students. Don't go near that door. It's dangerous. Songwoo observed Jinseok with disdain. Why is he acting so high-handed? Is he just trying to show off? This guy's going to be a pain to deal with. Jinseok turned to Songwoo and Hanho. Did you two pick class cards too? Yeah, we both did, Songwoo replied casually. You remember Hanho, right? Hello, Jinseok. Hanho greeted awkwardly. Yeah, sure, Jinseok replied. I think I saw you at the welcome party. Songwoo crossed his arms, mentally preparing for whatever was coming next. The chaos wasn't over yet, and it was clear their challenges had only just begun. Songwoo leaned casually against the wall, addressing Jinseok's haughty demeanor. I've been too busy to attend classes lately, he said with a shrug. Jinseok frowned, crossing his arms. Then what's the point of coming to school? Anyway, you realize how serious the situation is, right? If you have weapons, you should help us protect the rest of the students. Sure, Songwoo replied, his tone nonchalant. Jinseok tilted his head, inspecting Songwoo. What's your class? Are you a spearman? I wonder how useful you'll even be. Songwoo smirked but didn't answer immediately. I've already taken down one of those green monsters, Jinseok bragged. They're called goblins and they're tough to handle, even with a weapon. But I picked a solid class, a 2-star shield warrior. If anything happens, just hide behind me. Right, Songwoo muttered, his eyes scanning the area. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed from the stairwell. Jinseok raised his hand for silence. I heard goblins near the stairs. Everyone, quietly make your way into the cafe and hide. We'll guard the entrance. Songwoo turned to Hanho, who whispered nervously, Can you see that too, Songwoo? Yeah, Songwoo replied, noting the timer displayed before them. A boss has appeared. Time remaining, 2 hours and 11 minutes. Hanho gulped. Is this some kind of timed event? What happens if we fail? Well, everyone dies. Songwoo's expression darkened. I don't know what happens if the monsters grow stronger, but it's clear we have to defeat the boss to escape. Sitting back and waiting for help isn't an option. Those who aren't on guard will be the first to die. Jinseok, overhearing the conversation, gestured toward a younger boy. Minsu, isn't he in your class, Songwoo? Yeah, we've met, Songwoo said curtly. Good, Jinseok replied smugly. It's comforting to know I've got my juniors working under me. Let's stay alert and hold them off here. Songwoo's eyebrows rose. Hold them off here? Are you serious? Got a problem with that? Jinseok snapped. Didn't you read the message on the door? Songwoo countered. Of course I did. We can't leave, so we need to wait for a rescue team, Jinseok insisted. Songwoo sighed. What rescue team? If this is happening across the country, the police won't have the capacity to help us. Jinseok scoffed. Have you completed your military service? The Korean army is powerful. The military will come for us. Song-woo shook his head. There's no guarantee they'll prioritize this place. It's dangerous to sit and wait. Jin Seok bristled at the comment. Did you just sigh at me? Fine, screw you. If you want to live, go hide in the cafe and stay quiet. Before the argument could escalate further, a student shrieked. Jin Seok. Goblins are here. Jin Seok spun around, his eyes widening as he saw the creatures approaching from two directions. If you have weapons, get over here. We have to block the cafe entrance. Chaos erupted as the goblins closed in. Jin Seok shouted orders, his bravado slipping into panic. Song-woo, however, remained calm, addressing Jin Seok with a cold gaze. You're letting your sense of duty cloud your judgment. When someone with an inflated ego takes charge, people die. What the hell are you saying? Jin Seok snapped. And what's your class, anyway? Song-woo's voice dropped, exuding confidence. A strong one. As he spoke, a dark aura surrounded him. Death Scent, Stage 1, has been activated. The enemy's stats have decreased by 30%. The goblins screeched, their movements faltering. Song-woo smirked, gesturing to his skeletal minions. Let the hunt begin. As the chaos unfolded, the students stared in disbelief at the goblins charging toward them. Those goblins. I can't believe this. What's happening? One of them stammered, clutching their weapon nervously. Among them, Song-woo moved with precision, wielding his spear with an efficiency that left others awestruck. How is he able to slaughter all those goblins with nothing but that crappy spear? A student muttered, frozen in shock. Song-woo, meanwhile, remained focused. Block the stairs so they can't escape, he commanded. His skeletal minions obeyed, corralling the goblins effectively. Nice, he thought. I have to prove to everyone that I can control these undead skeletons and resolve the situation. Only then can I convince them to attack the boss with me. He assessed the situation, gripping the bracelet on his wrist. This buff skill should neutralize the goblins, but it won't help against stronger monsters later. Whispers spread among the students. That guy's ordering the skeletons around, right? One said. I think so. That's a relief. But who is he? Another asked. I think he's a senior from our department, someone replied, their voice filled with hope. Song-woo finished off the last of the goblins, letting out a relieved breath. Phew, I did it. The students around him murmured with admiration. He's really brave. Is he really someone from our college? Thank goodness, another said softly. I'm so glad someone like him is here. Song-woo glanced at the fallen goblins, searching for loot. No items? Do common monsters not drop anything, he wondered, spotting something unusual. A roulette ticket? How are they even going to give that to me without an inventory system? Jin Seok approached cautiously. Good work, everyone, he announced, trying to take control. Song-woo stepped forward, addressing the group. I'm sure you've all seen the message on the door. Due to strange circumstances, we can neither open nor break it down. The answer is simple. We have to defeat the boss monster somewhere in this building. The students murmured anxiously. So what now? What can we do? We have 2 hours left, Song-woo explained. We need to find the boss and kill it. If we fail, the consequences will likely be worse. The message mentioned monsters growing stronger. That probably means scarier ones will start appearing. A student hesitantly raised their hand. I've seen the boss monster. I was on the rooftop, smoking, when it appeared. It got my professor. Song-woo's eyes sharpened. The roof. That's where I need to go. He turned to the group. Is there anyone else willing to join me? Silence fell over the room, the students too afraid to answer. Finally, Hanho stepped forward timidly. Song-woo, I'll stay here instead. No, you're coming, Song-woo said firmly. I need you to buff my skeletons. I'll give you my dagger if that helps. Hanho shook his head. I don't need it. Bringing too many people might cause chaos in these narrow corridors. Besides, your skeletons are stronger than most of us here. Jin Seok flinched as Song-woo turned his gaze on him. What about you, Jin Seok? Jin Seok stammered. I think I need to protect the people here. My job is to keep the students safe. Fine, Songwoo said curtly. But stay alert. With that, he adjusted his grip on his weapon and prepared to face the challenge ahead. Songwoo surveyed the group, his voice calm but urgent. Since we don't know how long this will take, we need to move now. Hanho, don't let your guard down. He glanced back at his companion, adding with a smirk, remember what the famous General Ma Gongcheng said, if you want to survive. Before he could finish, Hanho cut him off, his voice trembling. Songwoo, more goblins. They're coming. Ugh, they're upstairs too? Songwoo tightened his grip on his weapon. I want the two of you to guard the back. The shrieks and screeches of goblins echoed through the corridor as Songwoo led the charge, swiftly dispatching enemies. As the battle waned, Hanho exclaimed, Phew. Songwoo, she's really good. Songwoo raised an eyebrow. Never mind, Hanho mumbled, looking away. Songwoo sighed. Ma Gongcheng was right. But enough jokes. Let's head up. As they ascended the stairs, they stumbled upon a familiar face. Professor Huang? Songwoo exclaimed. The professor, disheveled and trembling, turned to him with tearful eyes. Is that you, Songwoo? What are you doing here? What happened, Professor? Why are you here? Songwoo asked urgently. Huang's voice cracked as he began to explain. The students in my class, most of them are dead because of me. It's all my fault. Calm down, Songwoo said, placing a hand on the professor's shoulder. What happened? We managed to escape to the labs at first, Huang explained, his voice heavy with guilt. But we couldn't stay there. So, we followed the emergency evacuation manual and went up to the roof. I thought it was the safest place. Songwoo's eyes narrowed. No way. Did you run into? Huang's face twisted with horror. There was an even more terrifying monster on the roof. The students who trusted me and followed me, they were... His voice broke into sobs. Songwoo, no matter what, you must not go up to the roof. I don't want you to die too. The professor slumped against the wall, his strength failing him. Songwoo clenched his fists, his thoughts racing. My destiny? Is this my turning point?
Why?
Why do we have to go through things like this? Hanho's voice broke through his thoughts. Songwoo, is it really okay for us to go up there? Without hesitation, Songwoo stepped forward. The door before them loomed ominously. As they crossed the threshold, a chilling message echoed in his mind. You have entered the boss room. The chaos was overwhelming. Shouts, roars, and cries filled the air as the group faced an unrelenting swarm of goblins.
Ugh.
Damn it. No way, someone stammered, pointing toward the carnage. Over there, isn't that someone from my class? Songwoo's expression hardened as he surveyed the scene. Those damn monsters, he muttered. Then, raising his voice, he added, let's calm down and think for a second. Why do we have to suffer like this? Hanho hesitated. Why? It's simple, Songwoo replied coldly. Because we're weak. Determined, he signaled the group. Let's go. That's why we must become stronger. Hanho's voice quivered. Songwoo, don't you think, this time, maybe we should try to run? No, Songwoo said firmly. We have to stand our ground. And, he glanced at the fallen bodies around them. Treat these guys as your shield. One of the students cursed under his breath. Damn it. Why did I choose this class? I thought it'd be useful, but it's useless. In a sudden outburst of frustration, he struck at a goblin. To his surprise, he succeeded.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah, I remember being good at this. He struck again, exhilarated.
Take that.
This is it. I've found my talent. But their newfound confidence was short-lived. A deep, guttural roar silenced the group as a massive goblin emerged from the shadows. Songwoo's eyes narrowed. He must be the boss. The system's message echoed in his mind. The boss monster, the goblin captain, has appeared. The towering goblin growled, pointing its blade toward the group. Kill them all. Get back. Songwoo shouted, summoning his undead skeletons. His command reverberated through the battlefield. You can command the dead under your authority. Flames flickered around his hand as he directed his forces. But Songwoo could feel his mana draining fast. Damn, I've used too much. There are plenty of corpses around, but at this rate, I'll hit my limit soon. The captain moved faster than expected, lunging toward Songwoo. A skeletal warrior intercepted the blow just in time.
Whoa.
You blocked that. Hanho exclaimed in disbelief. The goblin captain roared, its focus now entirely on Songwoo. Oh, crap. That bastard's pissed now, isn't he? Hanho added nervously. Yup, at me, Songwoo muttered grimly. Another student screamed, help me, as goblins swarmed toward them. The group fought back valiantly, with one of the students showing surprising skill with the blade. She has some serious talent, Songwoo thought, watching her movements. Strategic, precise, she's not an ordinary student, but Songwoo knew they couldn't rely on skill alone. He clenched his fist. I need to start being more strategic too. The goblin captain roared again, scattering their forces. Songwoo barked out a command, attack from behind.
Now.
The skeletons obeyed, swarming the captain. But Songwoo knew it wasn't enough. The goblins seemed to count the remaining skeletons with a mocking grin, as if declaring victory. If this keeps up, we'll all be dead, Songwoo thought grimly. His mind raced for a solution. I need to land one hit. One perfect hit that will take him down. With renewed determination, Songwoo prepared himself for the critical strike that would decide their fate. Both of you, charge. Songwoo commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. The group launched forward, determined to end the fight. The system displayed new synergy options for Songwoo. 1 Warrior, Stage 1. A weapon synergy that boosted attack speed and reduced weapon weight. 2. The One-Armed Warrior. A personal synergy increasing the chance of inflicting a bleeding effect with the first attack by 88%. Songwoo tightened his grip on his weapon. With this synergy effect and weapon, I can win. He grabbed a nearby desk and hurled it at the goblin captain. First, have a taste of this solid desk from hell. The desk slammed into the goblin captain with a loud roar. Nice shot, someone exclaimed. The goblin staggered, giving Songwoo an opening. Now's my chance, he thought. Calling upon his loyal skeleton, he whispered, it's time to sacrifice yourself. Goodbye, and thank you for everything you've done for me. The skeleton charged at the goblin captain, buying Songwoo enough time to deliver the final blow. With a sickening crunch, the goblin captain fell. The system announced, you have received 255 gold for defeating the goblin captain, the boss monster. You have leveled up. LV.3. As the group caught their breath, Hanho noticed something unusual about the skeleton. Songwoo, that skeleton, what was it before it died? Songwoo frowned. I'm not sure. I think it was just a common goblin. His voice trailed off as the system revealed a startling change. The goblin skeleton has absorbed the goblin captain's mana, and its class has been upgraded. Defense significantly increased. Commander qualities added. Organization synergy can now be applied depending on team size. What's that? Someone asked, pointing at a strange tattoo forming on the skeleton. It seems to relate to squads, platoons, and companies, Songwoo speculated. I'll need to gather more minions.
Hey, Songwoo.
I leveled up. Hanho exclaimed. I'm level 3 now. What about you? I leveled up too, Songwoo replied. But I chose a random reward when I hit level 2 since things were chaotic. Any recommendations? Hanho examined the cards that appeared. It's partially random, so while your choice matters, you also need a bit of luck. See these cards? Pick one of the 5 options. Songwoo selected a skill. Create bone weapons, basic. Cost, 10 mana. Effect, allows the creation of weapons from the bones of corpses, with results varying based on material type and skill level. I can make weapons from bones now, Songwoo said with a grin. Jisoo chimed in, holding up a small stone. This is a fire whetstone. If I sharpen my blade with it, there's a chance it'll ignite during an attack. Wow, that's cool, someone murmured. As they prepared to leave, Jinseok spoke up, his frustration bubbling to the surface. Is it really okay for us to stay here? People keep saying we should have listened to Songwoo and gone to fight the boss. Are you serious right now? Jinseok exploded. I've been protecting everyone, and now you ungrateful bastards are questioning me? The group fell into chaos, arguing and shouting over each other. Listen, Jinseok roared. If anyone has complaints, then leave. Or go to the roof and die like Songwoo. Suddenly, the room fell silent. A voice cut through the tension.
Who did you say died?
Songwoo stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. Jinseok froze, realizing his mistake. Why you're alive, he stammered. Songwoo's expression was cold. Did you want me to die? The tension in the room hung heavy. Someone muttered under their breath, Jinseok, you look really pathetic right now. Songwoo stood, his eyes locked on Jinseok, who seemed to be stewing with frustration. Do you have something you want to say, Jinseok? Songwoo asked. Jinseok hesitated for a moment before his anger spilled out. That asshole. He was acting all tough in front of us. I never liked that guy. He's arrogant and always acts like he's better than everyone else. The group continued through the quiet area, and Songwoo surveyed their surroundings. This area seems quiet. I don't see anything either. It's safe for now, but we need to exit quietly, he said. They were walking past dead bodies, and the sight made the atmosphere tense. What do we do now? Someone asked. There were definitely groups of goblins roaming around. Are they hiding somewhere? Songwoo's eyes darted toward a group of people in the distance. There are people over there, he said, noticing they had survived somehow. As they approached, one of the figures stepped forward. Hey, Jinseok. You're still alive, huh? The man was Dizong Park, the student council president. Jinseok greeted him with a grin, clearly relieved to see someone familiar. Songwoo observed the interaction silently, noting the strange dynamics of their group. I knew you of all people would have survived, Dizong continued. It's my lucky day, running into you here. Dizong addressed the rest of the group, explaining, I'm Dizong Park, and I'm the student council president. I'm sure you've all been through a lot today. We've experienced the same things as you, and we survived by fighting back. If you stick with us, you'll be safe. However, Songwoo remained cautious. But what are those monsters? He asked, eyeing the creatures near Dizong's group. Dizong answered, as you may already know, they're part of the class card I picked. Songwoo frowned. You chose monsters that kill people? His concern deepened, feeling uneasy about the potential danger these creatures posed. The tension was palpable. I'm sorry, Dizong said, his tone firm. But if you want to join our group, you'll need to destroy all of those monsters. Songwoo stepped forward, challenging Dizong's demand. And what if I refuse? Do you think it's acceptable to let these strange, creepy monsters join our group? Hanho added with a nervous chuckle. Well, they kind of are creepy, but they're also cute. His comment didn't help ease the tension. Hanho, be quiet, Songwoo snapped, then turned his attention back to Dizong. Believe in yourselves, but I can't do that. Asking me to disarm myself in this situation is the same as putting myself at risk. Dizong's expression hardened. Won't it be fine since we'll be protecting you? He countered, still trying to assert his control over the group. This is your last chance. If you want to join my party, obey my order and destroy those monsters. Songwoo shook his head, refusing to be intimidated. Seriously? Who died and made you king? When did we ever say we wanted to join your group? Dizong's face reddened with anger. You think you're so important just because you're in the student council? You're pathetic. The clash between the two grew more intense as each side stood firm in their beliefs. Jinseok glared at Dizong, not holding back his disdain. Aren't you the student representative of the Social Physical Education Department? Dizong shook his head, dismissing the accusation. No, I'm not. As if any of those titles matter now that the entire college has been wiped out, he retorted sharply. Look, just calm down and come this way, or you'll regret it. Songwoo, who had been quiet until now, narrowed his eyes. Don't be such a hypocrite. Do you really think I don't know about how you embezzled student membership fees during the festival, fabricating an event staging company and its receipts? Dizong's expression faltered as Songwoo continued. I was the one who reported you on the university website. His face turned pale. Dubba, he stammered, taken aback by the revelation. Fine, Dizong muttered, lowering his tone. Looks like I have no choice then. Please leave. I don't want you making a commotion and attracting more monsters. Songwoo wasn't moved. You'll regret this. We need to stick together for the synergy effect to work. When you end up getting killed, you'll regret not joining us, you morons. Jinseok watched the exchange, turning to Jisoo with a questioning look. If you don't mind me asking, what happened between you and the president? Oh, he's just a complete asshole, Jisoo replied, disgust evident in his voice. He's a rich, spoiled brat who only comes to school to hit on girls. Some of my juniors were taken advantage of by him. He's acting like a sanctimonious bastard just because he's the student council president, but he can't hide his true nature. Jisoo's anger simmered as he spoke. What a piece of shit. Changing the subject, Jisoo refocused on the task at hand. Anyway, our first goal should be to escape the campus. We should avoid places with a lot of people, Songwoo suggested. I think the monsters were released to hunt people. Jisoo nodded, formulating a plan. In that case, let's avoid the buildings and take the footpath by the hill. It leads to the main gate, and there usually aren't many people around there. The group moved cautiously, the silence becoming unsettling. It's so quiet, way too quiet, Jisoo muttered, his nerves on edge. Suddenly, Songwoo held up a hand. Stop. Shuh, someone whispered urgently. A guttural growl echoed in the distance.
Eek.
What is that? A voice trembled. Songwoo's eyes widened as the monstrous figure emerged. It's bigger than that goblin boss was. Jisoo cursed under his breath. So after the goblins, come the orcs. The massive orc charged toward them, its roar sending chills down their spines. Rhea. Songwoo, his mind already calculating, smirked slightly. Nice. Limbo material for a new skeleton just turned up. The group scrambled to react as the orc charged toward them. New skeleton materials. Songwoo shouted, urging everyone to take cover. Duck. What the hell was that? Jisoo exclaimed in disbelief as they tried to regroup. Block him, Songwoo ordered, pushing his team into action. Get up here, Jisoo. We need to move to stable ground. Jisoo struggled to hold his position. I thought I blocked it properly, but it broke through immediately. Don't get too close to it. We have to fight it the same way we fought the goblin boss, Songwoo instructed, his focus sharp. The skeletons around them followed their orders without hesitation. Follow the plan, Songwoo continued. The skeletons will always sacrifice themselves for you. Since there are plenty of corpses around, I just need to keep an eye on my mana. Rushing him won't be effective in such a forested area. Songwoo and his team attacked strategically. Nice, now take that. Jisoo winced as the orc collapsed. Songwoo checked his stats. You have received 110 gold for defeating an orc patrol leader. Patrol leader? Jisoo questioned, considering the possibility. Maybe it was a bit stronger than the average orc? I don't know, Songwoo shrugged, but it was easier to fight than the boss. Plus, we make a pretty good team, don't you think? Suddenly, a voice interrupted their moment of relief. You cannot command the dead under your authority. Songwoo grimaced. Your level is too low to summon mid-level monsters. Guess I'm still too weak to try summoning an orc, Songwoo muttered, then turned to Jisoo. Which card did you pick, Jisoo? I picked the Necromancer class, Jisoo answered. And you? The Tiger Hunter class, Songwoo replied. I chose it because I liked the color of the card, but it only has 3 stars. Jisoo laughed nervously. Oh man, I'm the only one in a 1-star class. Songwoo focused again. My mana has recovered. Shall I try out some new skills? He accessed his skill list. Create bone weapons, he read aloud. Create bone weapons, basic. Sword lowest level /6 bones. Club low level /5 bones. Spear, lowest level /2 bones. Bow, lowest level /4 bones. He mulled over the options. Would a club be better since it's a higher levels? Jisoo nodded. Wow, that's pretty cool. They're lighter than they look. Yeah, Songwoo replied, tossing one to each of his companions. Right, you guys take one each. As Songwoo equipped a new weapon, he noticed a synergy bonus. The Recklessness of the Barbarians, Stage 1. Type: Weapon Synergy. Condition: equip 5 or more bone weapons. Effects: damage increases, plus 30%, when attacking while injured. Hanho looked at the club in his hand, eyes wide.
Oh, hold on.
Hanho, take this. Songwoo tossed him a bone weapon. Thank you. Songwoo quickly clarified. I'm just lending it to you. Return it to this skeleton when I tell you to. He turned to the others. You saw how strong the synergy effect of the one-armed warrior was, right? But it's not like we can cut one of your arms off. We need to be careful while heading down. The group continued their march toward the hill. As they approached, Songwoo's eyes narrowed. We're nearly there. Songwoo, Jisoo murmured, pointing ahead. Why have the cars been arranged like that? Songwoo froze. Really? Again?
What?
The tension in the air was palpable. So, they're coming to hunt us right now? Songwoo's mind raced as he surveyed the area. If the size of the group dictates the number of enemies we need to fight, we might only need to fight a few. Which means, being in a big group might work to your disadvantage. A roar suddenly pierced the air. Rag. Wait, Jisoo blinked. Isn't that where the student council group was? Damn, Songwoo cursed. If we'd been there too. He quickly assessed the situation. The first attack has begun. 5 orcs were approaching fast. Jisoo looked worried. 5 orcs? That's probably fewer than the number of orcs that went to the sports field, but still. Songwoo readied his weapon. Okay, so 5 orcs? Must be them. They're looking for us, Jisoo said, anxiety creeping into his voice. What do we do? Songwoo's eyes lit up with a sudden idea. I just got an idea. An idea? Like running away?
Jisoo asked.
No, Songwoo smirked. Let's set a trap. Using the lay of the land. And these guys. Over here. Look over here, you greedy pig bastards. Songwoo shouted, hoping to draw the orcs' attention. The orcs turned toward him, their eyes filled with anger. You greedy pig bastards, one of them muttered. Songwoo grinned. Attack. Now's our chance. Jisoo quickly assessed the situation. Did I get a skill this time? He paused, then realized, wait, now I can have a total of 7 minions. The problem is that my mana capacity is still only 50. I got a skill. Hanho exclaimed. What is it? A high-speed slash? Songwoo read aloud. It can only be used with a dagger. Jisoo turned to him.
What about you?
I chose strength and gained 2 stat points, Jisoo replied. I think something has changed because my body feels warmer now, and I do feel a bit stronger than before. Songwoo noticed the shift in his group's dynamic. Hanho, give that sword back to me. You need to keep using the dagger for your skill to take effect.
Ugh.
Here you go. Hanho reluctantly returned the sword. Songwoo turned to assess their surroundings. There are 7 orcs. I guess the group over there is pretty small too. At this rate, they'll all be killed. It looks like the only attack they're capable of is stabbing at the orcs with a spear through the windows. Let's help them, Songwoo suggested. If we surprise the orcs and attack from the rear while the person with the spears attacks from the front, we should be able to take all 7 of them. They'll be easy prey. Jisoo hesitated. But will that person come out and fight? In a situation like this, Songwoo reasoned, we can't just trust them, especially people who are frightened. He then had a sudden realization. Let's do this instead. We'll simply show those orcs the convenience of civilization.
What?
Jisoo blinked in confusion. Try to hit them. Songwoo urged, seeing their indecision. Why aren't you using that long spear of yours effectively? If you don't like what I'm doing, go ahead and fight them with your sword and shield. One of the spearmen in the group cried out in panic.
Shit.
We're all gonna die. He whimpered. I don't want to die. Suddenly, the air was filled with confusion. What the hell? What's going on, Kyongsu? Songwoo's eyes widened as skeletons appeared out of nowhere, adding to the chaos. As skeletons, one of the panicked survivors gasped. What the hell is that? But before anyone could react, something even more terrifying appeared, sending the group into a frenzy. It's quiet now. Jisoo wondered, cautiously peeking around. Are they gone? Someone muttered nervously. Songwoo and the others heard a knock on the door. Get away from me. Open the door. We're human, so please open the door, a survivor pleaded, their voice filled with relief. Thank God. We survived. Songwoo rolled his eyes. Hey, what are you doing? The survivor looked sheepish. Oh, Songwoo, I don't have any change. Would you like some colas? Songwoo groaned. Move aside. I have some money. But the vending machine broke because you hit it, the survivor protested. Ignoring the complaint, Songwoo approached the machine. Shall we continue our discussion? The survivor hesitated. Okay. Songwoo looked at the machine curiously. So basically, that machine spits out items? Yeah, that's right. We tried it ourselves. Although we didn't have a lot of gold, so we could only use it once, the survivor explained. But when we followed the instructions, it gave us items. Songwoo raised an eyebrow. It's a shop? Seems like it, the survivor confirmed. The screen on the vending machine flickered. Welcome to the earring store. Press any key to proceed. Songwoo glanced at the vending machine and said, Do you really think you'll get items from this machine? We've seen swords fall from the sky. Nothing is impossible. Jisoo nodded. We'll know for sure once we try it ourselves. I have 360 gold. Bronze is the best option for me, Hanho said. I have 584 gold, Jisoo added. Songwoo looked at his own gold. I have 1,552 gold. Whoa, Jisoo exclaimed. That means you could try the silver roulette too. Songwoo checked the machine. I currently have one roulette ticket, unlimited rank. I finally have a chance to make use of the rewards I received from unlocking that hunting achievement in the lobby. Jisoo frowned. That option costs 10,000 golds.
Whoa.
That's amazing, Songwoo said, impressed. As I thought, luck is the most important factor when it comes to survival, Songwoo muttered, reflecting on his recent success. Jisoo looked in awe. Wow, you got first place in the gold roulette. Like you just said, it's amazing. You should give the silver roulette a spin too. Why are you the one getting excited? Songwoo wondered aloud. He felt a little strange. Why am I the only one who got this kind of things? Jisoo looked at the potions with interest. Seems like those potions would come in handy. By the way, Songwoo said, changing the subject, the situation at the sports field is still ongoing. Shouldn't we help them out? Are we going to show them the convenience of civilization again? Jisoo asked with hesitation. Songwoo smiled. Let's use something a bit bigger this time. The group found themselves in the midst of chaos as they approached the area. Help me. You lot, group up, a desperate voice called. Let's establish an escape route for us, at least. Dizong shouted orders. There are people trapped in the stands over there. Ignore them. This isn't the time to be worrying about other people's. Jin Seok snapped. Since you two have shields, you should lead the way. Songwoo commanded. The group pressed on, fighting their way through. I'm earning so much gold right now. Hanho cheered as the monsters fell. You have received 55 gold for defeating an or hunter, the system chimed. You have received 60 gold for defeating an or hunter. You have received 50 gold for defeating an or hunter. Everyone, get on the bus. Quickly. Dizong ordered. Songwoo recognized a familiar sight.
Huh?
Isn't that? I told you we should have followed him instead, someone from the group muttered. Songwoo faced the orc leader again. We meet again, orc. I'm not going down so easily this time. He blocked the orc's attack, holding his ground. I blocked it this time. I'm not getting pushed back by its strength like before, Songwoo said, rallying his group. Songwoo's strategy was proving incredibly efficient. He kept up a constant barrage of attacks against the monsters while maintaining a safe distance. His minions all had clear roles, which made his approach effective. I feel incredibly foolish for simply investing points into physical strength to overpower orcs, Jisoo thought, watching Songwoo's methodical approach. What the hell did that guy do before all this? Jisoo wondered. Songwoo caught sight of a familiar figure. Oh, what are you doing here? The person looked defensive. I thought you didn't want to be anywhere near these creepy monsters. Songwoo raised an eyebrow. You're not going to hold a grudge against us in this situation, are you? The person grumbled. Isn't that a bit too cruel? Not after I saw you abandon people and run away, Songwoo retorted. What do you mean, abandon? I just made a strategic retreat to reorganize my team, the person shot back. Songwoo glanced at the bus, where the other survivors were waiting. I wonder if the people in the bus will agree with you. Suddenly, an orc chief charged toward them, enraged. Dizong took charge again. The bus will be departing now. If you're willing to follow my orders, hop on. What should we do, Dizong? Someone asked, nervous. We don't have a choice, Dizong muttered. And make sure you take off your chainmail, Songwoo added, surprising everyone. Why do I have to hand over my armor? How am I supposed to protect myself? The person complained. Songwoo shrugged. Don't worry, I'll protect you. But that's the price you need to pay. After all, we're not an organization committed to serving the student body like you lot.